ॐ ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणम्। So we study third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Gita Amrita series by Radhisham Prabhu material. So we covered chapter 1 and chapter 2. So chapter 1, where Arjuna was in the midst of the battlefield, his chariot driver is Lord Krishna, and looking at the armies on both sides, especially on the opposite side where there are so many of his relatives, Arjuna was overwhelmed with, and he expressed several reasons why he did not wish to continue the fight. We discussed this. He was compassionate and he did not see any reason for enjoyment by doing that fight. And he also was afraid of sinful reactions of killing the relatives. And he felt that all the men will die, and so there is destruction of family traditions. So these are the reasons he gave. And he was indecisive whether I am doing the right thing at this point. And in 2.7, he 2.6 he was indecisive, and then 2.7 he expressed, he surrendered himself to Krishna to instruct him and give him the right instruction to act upon. And then the beginning of instruction started in 2.8 onwards till verse 72. Lord Krishna summarized all the concepts, uh, all the spiritual concepts, all the yogas in quick succession, starting with the understanding about the self, soul, Sankhya philosophy, it is called. Sankhya means counting, Sankhya, number, counting, right? Counting everything that exists. What to count? Count whatever that exists, right? And categorize them as matter and spirit, right? So analytic study of matter and spirit is called Sankhya philosophy. So Krishna spoke about, in many verses about what is soul and what is the nature of the soul, etc. Right? How soul is imperishable, eternal, and how matter is inert and covered. How matter covers the soul, like that. All those concepts were discussed. And then, because all of this, Krishna is trying to give a perspective and wants Arjuna to choose the right action at the end of the instruction. And then he spoke about Karma Kanda. Karma Kanda means where a jiva acts following the Vedic rituals, but with the aim of enjoyment. So, through Karma Kanda, he explained how Arjuna should fight in any case. If suppose Arjuna dies in the battlefield, he will be promoted to heaven because it's a right cause. Those who die in the battle are expected to go to heaven. And if he wins the battle, he will rule the earth. In any case, it's good to fight rather than not fighting. On the other hand, if he doesn't fight, everybody will dishonor, and for a Kshatriya, dishonor is worse than death. Through Karmakanda, he gave an explanation on why he should fight. And then he explained through Buddhi Yoga or Nishkama Karma Yoga, Karmanya Vadikarastha, verse we studied, right? Nishkama Karma Yoga, there are, Nishkama Karma Yoga means there is Sakama Karma Yoga and Nishkama Karma Yoga. Sakama means where there is desire for fruit. Nishkama means there is no desire, there is no kama. Nishkama, right? Where one acts for the pleasure of the Lord, where one acts in a detached fashion and offers the fruits to the Lord as well as the main enjoyer of the fruits. He is not the enjoyer of the fruits. Lord is the enjoyer of the fruits. That's the main spirit behind Nishkama Karma Yoga. So, see, we discussed about art of all work. The key principles are work in the mode of selfless service. It's not for you, but for the greater good. For the ultimately for Krishna. Anything we do is for Krishna. We may take some portion for our maintenance or whatever, but ultimately, if it is not offered to Krishna, it becomes entanglement. Unattached to the results of the world, you may get sometimes good results, sometimes bad results. You're not disturbed either way. You accept as whatever is in your destiny. Accept with smile, right? With resolute determination. While working, you give your 100%. You're not going to waver mentally. Oh, what will I get? Whether I get good results or bad results. So with full determination, you would work. Give your best because you want to serve your Lord the best, right? You're working for Lord. That's how you should say. You're not working for Amazon, Oracle, or Microsoft. You're working for Lord. That's how you should say. I will get the best results and offer to Lord. Use some of the results to, cook bhoga for Lord. Offer some money to, Lakshmi to temple for maintenance, or offer some items to Lord every now and then you can do. So that way you purify your activities, right? With mind focused on Krishna. Fight simply because it is Krishna's desire, right? That is for Arjuna. Yeah. And results do not get any. You will not get any sinful reaction by doing so. Yeah. So this is called Buddhi Yoga. Nishkam Karma Yoga is combination of Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga, right? So you're working, but you have a knowledge that it is all meant for the satisfaction of the Lord, right? So it's the best of the both, right? Jnana Yoga gives you knowledge about who you are. Karma Yoga is about engaging the senses in the right way. So the combination is Krishna consciousness or Nishkama Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga, where one endeavors for the pleasure of the Lord, right? Then it is reaction free and you will go back to Godhead. So, and then he talked about when Krishna spoke about this, Arjuna asked about how such a person, a self-realized person, how does he act in this world? This is a person who is completely purified through practice of Nishkama Karma Yoga. Right? For several years of practice of Nishkama Karma Yoga makes one into Sthita Prajna. Sthita Prajna means his intelligence is fixed. He is very clear. So over a period of practice of chanting and serving in the temple, teaching and learning, attending the classes. So all of us are expected to reach this stage of Sthita Prajna, right? So what happens in that stage? You're free from the desire to enjoy senses. You're not, your every part of your body is meant for the service of the Lord, right? Your eyes, your hands, they're all Lord's energy and they're meant for the pleasure of the Lord. And you have a steady mind. You are fixed. You're not attracted to anything in this world or outside, right? Um, so generally in this world, people are attracted to so many things. You see something, you want to get it. But for a Sthita Prajna, he is very fixed. He has crossed that stage through various devotion service activities, right? So indifferent from good and evil, he knows whatever is happening in my life is in the best interest of me, arranged by the Lord. So there is nothing good or evil for him. Everything is good. Everything is, because he understands, why would my father, my loving father, give anything to me that is not good for me? That is his understanding. Externally, it may appear something evil, but it doesn't bother him, right? He knows ultimately it is all for my uh, upliftment of my consciousness. So that is the way a Sthita Prajna thinks, a person who is fixed up in Krishna consciousness. So as you lead our life, in the journey, in our journey of Krishna consciousness, we'll be put through various tests, starting with small tests. You know, the small test is initially, we may be attracted to certain sweets in the, at our, from our previous experiences. Sometimes if it is not offered, we don't want to take it, even though it is your favorite. So those are like small tests. Later on, we may get bigger tests. We may get bigger challenges. Maybe insults, or some other complications in our life. So how do we face those situations with equanimity, with a steady mind? And then they develop taste for devotional activities. These activities of devotional activities like chanting, serving, in various ways, uh, in the temple or outside the temple, in through preaching or attending classes. Some people develop taste for hearing. They want to hear Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita classes. Some people like to do, Harinam Kirtan, Harinam Sankirtan, or they just want to do on their harmonium. I know some devotees, they just sit alone in their home and meditate on Krishna and do kirtan just for the pleasure of the Lord. There is no audience, nobody, nothing, just for the pleasure of Lord. In an evening when a quiet time, that's their way to connect with Krishna, right? So everyone has to find their way to connect with Krishna in a solitary, in a solitary spirit, right? Yeah. So control the senses by engaging them in the devotional service. So all your senses you want to engage in the service of Krishna, right? Being thus situated at the time of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God. So by doing these activities, when it is time for leaving this body, because of all that you have done through your, various senses, through all the time that you have in your position, Krishna will be very happy to take you back to Godhead. Right? He will send his servants, Vishnu Dutas, and take you back to Godhead. So this is the ultimate goal of our life, right? So this is what is summarized in chapter 2. Now you can see, like, Krishna talked about everything. He didn't leave anything. He talked about soul, Sankhya philosophy, Karma Kanda, Buddhi Yoga, Sthita Prajna, right? Now Arjuna was unclear. There are some slokas that talk about, Sthita Prajna, which are, generally Sthita Prajna is not so active in the world. Hmm? On the other hand, he also said, Durena hi avaram karma. So Arjuna was confused at the end of this chapter. Do you really want me to fight, or do you want me to go to forest and meditate? Right? So that's the beginning of third chapter. Yeah. So in the first two verses, Arjuna expresses his confusion. Should I renounce all actions, or should I fight this war? Hmm? Yeah. So Krishna will delve into that in the verses 3 to 9. So he will speak in depth about Nishkama Karma Yoga, some nuances on how to perform work in the detached spirit. So yeah, for Arjuna specifically, Nishkam Karma Yoga is better as a Kshatriya. Right? So we'll read other verses later. How to move from Karma Kanda to Karma Yoga, how to set a good example. Those are the, and what are the dangers in Karma Yoga. That is, those are going to be discussed in the next sections. So we'll go to Karma Yoga section. Yeah, so there was a nice poem by His Grace Prahlad Prabhu about these first 8 verses. It's in conversation. We can just go over this. In 3.1, Arjuna said, "If wisdom is superior to work, why do you want me to engage in fighting this terrible war?" Because he spoke about Sthita Prajna. Arjuna wasn't sure. Arjuna did not understand that Sthita Prajna is a stage that you get to after purifying your senses. Before purifying senses, if you engage in meditation and give up all your activities, there is a chance you will fall down. So that he didn't understand clearly. So he was asking, if wisdom is superior, why do you want me to engage in this ghastly warfare? So you have talked about fighting and not fighting. So your contradictory instructions are confusing. Please describe a single path for achieving the highest good. Krishna said, previously I explained there are 2 paths in this world, path of intellectual analysis and path of active service, Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga. A person cannot attain spiritual freedom merely by withdrawing from work, nor can it be achieved through insight alone. So you cannot just achieve perfection by withdrawing from work. No one can refrain from action even for a moment. Everyone is forced to act according to one's natural qualities, right? Whatever one's nature is, some people are inspired to do certain work. It is better they do it instead of forcefully stopping from action. One who externally restrains senses, but whose mind inwardly dwells on sense objects, is a deluded pretender. Hmm? You see here the picture of Saubhari Muni and Vishwamitra. They both sat down for meditation, and their senses were agitated by various incidents. In the case of Saubhari Muni, he saw 2 fishes mating each other while he was meditating under the water. He went under the water to meditate. He is able to control his breath and meditate under the water. But when he saw 2 fishes mating, he got disturbed and then he came out and married and got distracted from his meditation practice. Similarly, Vishwamitra Muni, when Manaka and all these, you know, um, damsels of heaven came, he was disturbed and he enjoyed with them. So, sitting down in meditation without any, without senses being purified is extremely risky, right? Um, for many people, spirituality means going to some holy place and give up all your activities and start meditating, right? We have heard about these stories, but actually, it is not practical for most people in this world. It is possible for a very few, like 0.1% of the people, but that's not the common practice, or that's not practical for most of us. As long as our innate nature is not purified, it's not good. Because what is the impurities in our heart? Anybody want to say what are the main impurities in our heart? Please unmute yourself and
Is it desires?
mhm. Desires Yeah, I mean, like spiritualist also will have desire. Prabhupada had desire. That's why he started so many temples. Yeah, Achita Prabhu.
So the lust, greed, anger, pride, delusion, and
Yeah,
16 arthas.
yeah. Those are the manifestations. What are the core three things that exist?
Oh, proprietorship, controllership,
Enjoyership.
enjoyership. Yeah.
Yeah. So when we talk about purification, think in simple terms. Lust, greed, anger. Those are all manifestations. Main thing is we like to possess things in this world. Proprietorship. And once you have proprietorship, you want to control things. And once you control things, you want to actually enjoy. Why? Because you think you are the enjoyer. You see a person you want to enjoy. You see a thing you want to enjoy. You want to possess it. You want to control it. You want to enjoy it. So this is the main spirit uh, behind Jiva's continuous existence in the material world. This is the reason for, and this is all because lust, greed, anger, envy. These are the impurities in our heart. Hmm? They manifest like this. So practically, you see how these things are changing in your life as you practice. You know how how your attitude towards things of this world, how your attitude towards people of this world, things, people. So how you are dealing with them and how you are feeling towards them. How is it changing as you practice Krishna consciousness? You still feel greedy, you still feel angry at small incidents. It doesn't mean that you should never be angry. There are valid reasons when you can be angry, but you have to see whether am I doing it for my enjoyment or my controllership, or my proprietorship. I think I am the uh, proprietor of this. Am I doing because of those, or uh, you know or not, right? So you have to see that aspect. That is how we measure ourselves, whether how we are progressing in the path of Krishna consciousness. So one who externally restrains senses but whose mind inwardly dwells on sense objects is a deluded pretender. It doesn't mean that you don't restrain senses. In the beginning, the push of the senses is there, um, but that is not a reason to stop all work. Okay, you should not stop all work. Engage your senses in positive ways, and thereby you purify your senses as you engage your intelligence and your hands in building software or whatever. But partially you give the results to Krishna, right, through various means, right? So the food you cook, you offer to Krishna. You make a altar in your home and worship Krishna. So through the results of your work, you actually using that in the service of Krishna, and then you donate to temple. So in this way, you engage some of this, the fruits of your action in various ways in Krishna conscious spirit. Then what happens? It purifies your heart. It purifies your heart. It increases your understanding about Krishna. So as you purify your heart, right? Your controllership, your proprietorship, your enjoyment spirit, they will slowly transform into understanding that Krishna is the real proprietor, Krishna is the real controller, Krishna is the real enjoyer. I'm doing everything for his satisfaction because you love him, not just because you understand that he is the owner. Because you love him, you understand that whatever you have, all your abilities are given by him. So the right use of them is to use in his service. So when that knowledge comes, when that love develops, then it becomes natural for you. You're not disturbed when sometimes good things happen in your life or bad things happen in your life. You're not wavered. Your mind is steady. So that is called sthita prajna. So ideally, we all, when you practice sincerely, in this very lifetime, you can all get to that stage, right? We all should aspire to get to that stage. So mentally restraining the senses by detaching from the results and positively engaging them in karma kanda is a superior approach. Mentally restrain, okay? Physically don't restrain. Engage your senses physically in the service of Lord. Okay. So these meditators that were fallen down, they physically restrained, mentally thinking about the enjoyment. Right? Saubhari Muni or Vishwamitra. Mentally they are still, they have the desires and they continue to meditate on it. But physically they restrain themselves, sitting in meditation and not doing any work. Rather, you physically engage your senses fully for the and offer the fruits, right? And mentally try to control yourself. You don't want to engage your senses in wrong ways. So mentally restraining the senses by detaching from the results and by positively engaging them in karma yoga is a superior approach. So performing prescribed activities is better than inaction. Without work, you cannot maintain even your own body, right? So even to maintain our body, we need, you know, we all need food grains, water, and you get that by working. You have to engage, you have to cook, you have to earn money, you have to cook, you have to offer to Krishna and then eat, right? So that requires work. So if you are sitting in meditation, somebody has to take care of you. It's not that it is going to happen automatically, right? So it is better based on your core nature. It's better you engage in activities. Yeah. So you can all read with me these few verses. जायसी चेत कर्मणस्ते. Anybody want to read? You can unmute and read. So, Achita Prabhu, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhu. Jayasi chet karmanaste
Mata buddhir janardana
mata buddhir janardana
tatkim karmani ghore mam
tatkim karmani ghore mam
niyojayasi keshava.
niyo jayase keshava.
Please read translation.
It is also not possible to avoid following your order, O Keshava, controller of even Brahma and Shiva. Ka means Brahma, Yuva means, oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. One second, because this is in presentation. I'll show. Yeah, let's read this translation. This is Prabhupada translation. That is from Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, I think.
Oh, God. Arjuna said, O Janardhan, O Keshava, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare if you think that intelligence is better than fruit of work?
Hmm. So because you know, he was talking about verse 249, where Krishna spoke about Durena hi avaram karma, right? Buddhi yoga dhananjaya. So which means keep all abominable activities far distant by devotion service. Krishna spoke like this. And here Krishna is talking about attached work. Abominable activities is not by, okay, oh, this is killing, so it is abominable. No. If you are acting in an attached spirit, you are attached to the fruits of work, um, that you should avoid. Okay? Not action itself. Yeah. So Krishna, Arjuna is thinking, spoke about this, Sthita Prajna, how he, acts in this world, free from any reaction. You spoke about Durena hi avaram karma. So maybe, why are you even asking me to fight now? If this is ghastly, why are you engaging me in ghastly warfare? वांशी श्रेणेव Vakena. Anybody want to read? Arjun Sapkote Prabhu? Are you there? You're muted. Okay. Yeah. Anybody? Prabhakar Prabhu, you want to read?
Yeah, sure.
Vyamisreneva Vakyena
Vyamishrenev vakyena
Buddhim Mohayashiva Me
buddhim mohayashiva me
Tadekam Vada Nischitya
tadekam vada nischetya
Yena Shreyo Hama Apnuyam
yena shreyom ham
Apnuyam.
apnuyam.
Hmm. Yeah, so Vyami Srineva Vakyena means your words are meaning double, equivocal words. You're not you're speaking about multiple things. My intelligence is confused. Buddhim moha yashiva me. My buddhi is now bewildered. Right? Give me one way. I'm going to follow you. Yeah, please read.
My intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be most beneficial for me.
Hmm. So he's asking, should I do meditation, go to forest and meditate, or should I fight? Karma yoga or jnana yoga. He's thinking, these are the two choices I have. Let's see, any purport points. First two verses. Yeah. So Prabhupada in the purport, he says, oh, Krishna consciousness is not inertia. Inertia means, okay, sometimes people think that, oh, I came to practice Krishna consciousness. Now I don't need to take any other responsibilities. I don't need to work anywhere. I just may chant whole day, or serve in the temple whole day. That's wrong understanding. No? Yeah. So yeah, it's wrong to withdraw oneself into a secluded place without being trained in philosophy of Krishna consciousness. It's not as advisable to chant the holy name of Krishna in a secluded place for cheap popularity. Many people, lot of janta will appreciate people who seclude themselves and chant like this. But that only is good for cheap adoration. It doesn't help the jiva himself, because he hasn't purified his senses. Senses are, you know, still have the controllership, enjoyership mentality still. So until it is purified, it's not good. Yeah. So Krishna, because in the last chapter, Krishna spoke about multiple paths. Arjuna was confused. He wanted very clear instructions this time from Krishna. So we said, 2.49, he was confused. Arjuna was confused about that. Third verse. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Yeah. Shashwat Prabhu. Can you see my screen? You want to read? Okay. Raghavi, can you mute yours, unmute and read? Sri Bhagavan Uvacha.
श्रीभगवानुवाच
Lokesmin dvividha nishta.
लोकेऽस्मिन् द्विविधा
Nishta.
निष्ठा
Pura prokta maya naga.
पुरा प्रोक्ता मया नघ
Jnana-yogena Sankhyānam
Jnana-yogena Shankhyanam
Karma-yogena Yoginam.
Karma-yogena Yoginam.
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha means Lord Krishna is saying, Lokesmin Dvividha Nishta. So Lokesmin means the people of this world. They have considered Dvividha Nishta. They consider there are two paths, two primary paths. Right? What are those? One is Jnana Yoga, the other is Karma Yoga. Jnana Yoga na Sankhyanam. Sankhya, it's the Jnana Yoga's name is Sankhya, Karma Yoga, Yogina. Yeah, please read the translation.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O sinless Arjuna, I have already explained that there are two classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical philosophical speculation, and others by devotional service.
Actually, Krishna said Karma Yoga. Prabhupada translated as devotional service. Karma Yoga with destination being Krishna or offering the fruits to Krishna is called Bhakti Yoga. That's all. Bhakti Yoga means engaging your senses in the service of the Lord, right? So Krishna just spoke about, there are paths. Yeah. Sankhya Yoga is about purifying the senses by philosophical process. Right? So these, the people who are attracted to this process, right? They don't accept the truth, by scriptural statements. They want to find by their own experience, by their own experimentation, analytical study. So they, for example, they don't accept, if you want to find where is your ear, they'll have to, oh, this is nose. This has the properties of nose, so this cannot be ear. This cannot be ear. So they will actually find so they have a way to just go over, speculate on everything and come to a conclusion by their own mental processes. So that is called philosophical process or Sankhya Yoga. Naiti it's called. So they try to differentiate between what is matter, what is spirit. So this is matter, this is matter, this is matter, this is matter. So that it's a process of delineating what is matter versus spirit, right? Yeah, so unfortunately, whatever conclusions they can get to is also limited by the ability to which the senses can perceive. So ultimate realization a Gnana Yogi can get to is Brahman. Why? Because beyond Brahman, Bhagavan relation is not possible because that requires accepting some spiritual truth. So Brahman, because they know everything is matter, matter is not moving by itself, there must be spirit. When things move, there must be spirit behind it. So they know when things are moving, there is spirit behind it. So there is something beyond matter. That's how they conclude. So they can get to a spirit a conclusion that okay, so there are so many. There is individual spirit, and there is some forces in the nature. So there must be some higher spirit also that they call as Brahman, right? But they cannot know the properties of Brahman, like, oh, Krishna has these transcendental qualities. No, they won't understand because they're stuck in the mental process of speculation, right? So it has its limitations. It's quite interesting if you have an analytical mind to go through this process, but unfortunately it can only take you to the limits of what mental process can take you to. And then there is Karma Yoga, Nishkama Karma Yoga, where one accepts the truth as given in scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and try to now practice. It's like accepting previous written research papers and now adding to your research, right? You're not denying everybody and trying to invent by yourself, like Sankhya Yoga. You have accepted the truth and experience of the great devotees of the past, and now you are standing on the shoulders of great souls and trying to take the path they have taken to, right? So that is bhakti yoga or karma yoga, nishkam karma yoga. So where you work in Krishna consciousness with the spirit of pleasing the Lord, therefore the actions are akarmic or there is no reaction to them. And you depend on Krishna in this case, right? You don't depend on anybody else ultimately, right? So, and therefore senses are controlled. Senses are controlled with the support of Krishna. You're not doing all by yourself. That will lead to release from bondage. Let me know any questions on this Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga. Anybody has any questions so far? Okay, let's read this.
Prabhuji, I had a question.
Mhm.
So, Prabhuji, when we say there are two different methods, one is Karma Yoga and Sankhya Yoga. In Karma Yoga, I remember in second chapter, Prabhuji, it was also there that we can do our activities as duty and not use it as service of Krishna, and that will also be Karma Yoga.
Correct, yeah.
Uh, uh,
Correct, yeah. So that is also Karma Yoga. That is the beginning of Karma Yoga. Um, Karma Yoga means when you understand, okay, you're working in this world, but sometimes work is giving happiness, sometimes giving, there are going to be, you're going to face both good and bad results in this world all the time, right? When I'm getting negative results, I'm becoming miserable. Let me be not attached to the fruits. If you thoughtfully come to that conclusion and give up the desire to enjoy the fruits, that in itself is called Karma Yoga. Okay? But when you understand that actually the real enjoyer of the fruits is Krishna, because He is the one who has given me the abilities to work in this world. He has given me the eyes, He has given me the hands, He has given me the intelligence, He has given me education, our teachers, parents, everything is given by Him. So my work is meant for His pleasure. If you have come to the conclusion, that is called Buddhi Yoga, when your intelligence is actually fixed on the right goal. So, and you want to now, you don't want to sit idle because you understand I'm obligated in a way because everything I have is given by Lord. I am grateful and I want to, out of my gratitude, I want to engage my senses in for His pleasure, right? So that becomes Bhakti Yoga or Buddhi Yoga, right? But when you have no such understanding that, you just understand that, oh, if I'm trying to attach to fruits, sometimes I'm becoming miserable. And let me be not attached to the fruits. That is plain Karma Yoga. That's the difference.
Understood, Prabhuji.
Mm.
Prabhuji, I also heard somewhere some devotees saying that these activities cannot be yoga unless they actually involve God or Krishna. So, can Karma Yoga, uh, when we say that we are not attached to the fruits, are not attached to the results, and we're just doing our activities, and there is no Krishna or God in the picture, can that still be called as Karma Yoga?
Yes, because you are detached from matter, like detached from the fruits. But that's why Karma Yoga in itself is not complete. That's why Prabhupada is not just giving the definition of Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is like a um, it's not complete truly until it is really fully connected to Krishna. You
Mhm.
need to have proper basis on which it stands, right? But most people do not understand Karma Yoga in its full in totality. Uh, they don't worry about who is the real enjoyer of the fruits, right? So that's why in that sense it is not really, they understand, okay, there is some absolute truth, God, in vague terms. Whatever
Mhm.
whatever I do, I offer my fruits to God, right? It's very vague. What is God? You know, when you have the detailed so when you have vague understanding, that is karma yoga. I'm not the enjoyer, somebody else is the enjoyer. I don't know who
Mm-hmm.
he is, but everybody calls him as God. That in itself is because you are detached from the enjoyment spirit of the fruits, for the fruits. That in itself is a karma yoga. But when you
Mm-hmm.
have properly attached with proper understanding that actually everything originates from Krishna, is that true proprietor. Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhridam
Mm-hmm.
Sarvam Bhutanam Jnatva Mam
That's
Santi Richati.
something.
When you understand that in truth, now you know, okay, here is the person I'm working for really, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm part and parcel of him. He's my father and I love him. He loves me as much too. Now, when you have that understanding, now you are working for him.
Mm-hmm.
So, karma yoga in its best form is actually devotion service.
Got it.
Karma yoga is
Got
the
it.
most practical for most of us, right? More
Mm-hmm.
or less, Sankhya yoga is a preliminary step to karma yoga because
Mm-hmm.
you need that understanding what is spirit, what is matter, right? To be able to detach from matter, right? So, in a way, Buddhi yoga or Bhakti yoga is actually combination of karma yoga and Sankhya yoga. Karma yoga means, no, Sankhya yoga means you understand the difference between matter and spirit. You get by studying Bhagavad Gita and contemplating on it. You don't need to, you know, do a brute force search without any help, right? So, in a way, Krishna consciousness involves Jnana yoga. Krishna consciousness involves Karma yoga because you work here, but for the pleasure of the Lord, not for your own enjoyment, not for your enjoyment is a byproduct. You're not working for it. It happens automatically, uh, right? So, in a way, Bhakti yoga is a combination of Karma yoga and Buddhi yoga because you have right understanding and you are performing the right action, right? So, Prabhupada
Get it.
translates Karma yoga into as Bhakti yoga because that makes complete sense. You know, Karma yoga in itself is not, very practical. You don't know full clarity of God aspect. You are detached from fruits, but it's not sustainable for long. Unless you have clear understanding of whom I am offering. Any other
Yes,
question?
Prabhu. Yeah, thank you, Proji. That really helped. So, but I got few more questions. One is that is
Mhm.
Sankhya Yoga and Gyan Yoga are the same? Can
Yeah,
you say something?
Sankhya is counting. Sankhya number counting, right? So you count that there are 24 elements in this existence, right? Bhumi, Rapo, Nalo, Vayu, and like that. The tanmatras, sense, like indriyas, karmendriyas, jnanendriyas. So everything together, you divide everything because not everything is dull matter equally, right? Um, so there are karmendriyas which are functional matter. There are jnanendriyas, subtle matter. So you divide everything, and now you understand everything you see. You understand, oh, this is this. But you know, you can't relate to things of this world only at that level. It's like decomposite level, right? Like when you see a sweet, you don't think in terms of, oh, this is ghee, sugar, and atta and oil. You know, you don't think in those terms. That is the base for the sweet. But yeah, and so jnanis, what do they do when they see a sweet? Yeah, what is there? It is just atta plus sugar plus oil, you know, formed into a new, nice form. So they try to detach by understanding the components or constituents behind that, right? Everything they see, see in terms of matter and spirit. So that's where they stop. So it's more, it's not very lively or um, it's a bit dull process actually. It's in the sense that you always are trying to analyze what is matter, what is spirit, right? There is no joy. In our case, we know we sing nice bhajans, we pour our heart, we have nice association of devotees, we cook nice prasadam, offer to Krishna, and eat, and we do nice sankirtan, we do dance. Where are all these, for a Sankhya yogi? No, nothing. For a Karma yogi, no, nothing. All of this, because he doesn't understand the absolute truth in a relatable way. Okay? So there are challenges in practicing all these other process. But there are people who are attracted to that. They will do that. But it's not for everyone.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And Prabhuji, it's similar to Karma Yoga, then we can say even Gyan Yoga, like we do DYS, we hear Bhagavad Gita. So that is also some analysis, some
Yes, that's
that
why
is like.
even Bhakti Yoga includes both Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga means that acquiring knowledge, it's like reading a research paper and then understanding, right? Before you write, before you develop your own thesis, right? Other existing research. Yeah. So instead of trying to derive numbers by yourself, you are basically accepting the truth by the previous, teachers. So that's shortcut. You don't need to start from ground zero for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Accept that there is absolute truth. It's not in your experience. Just like you accepted G equal to 9.8 in the eighth
Mm-hmm.
grade, and then when you graduate in 10th, in 12th grade or engineering, you can do an experiment to actually find that. So you accept certain truths as axiomatic. Krishna is like this, soul is like this, and you accept in good faith and practice, and then slowly you will realize yourself. It takes time. It's a subtle process. It will take its time, but you will get to the same conclusion. You don't need to, oh, I don't understand what is soul, and I get stuck here, right? If you don't understand what is, um, complex number, square root of minus I, you cannot just argue saying, oh, I don't want to move ahead, I will stay here, right? You will
Mm-hmm.
accept that, and then you can learn more. Otherwise, you are stuck there. So similarly, there are axiomatic truths we may not fully accept inside, but we accept externally and go forward and practice. And over a period of time, as our purification progresses, things will be revealed in our heart. Just like I'm like you many years ago, where my understanding is hazy and unclear. Now I got some understanding. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sharing with you. So it's a gradual process. Over a period of time, it will change without you knowing, just by being part of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Prabhuji, like this was Gyan Yoga. So what is Buddhi Yoga? Is
Buddhi
that
yoga is
something?
bhakti yoga only. Uh, Buddhi yoga means the yoga of intelligence, where your intelligence is used on whom to offer the fruits of your action. So, karma yoga plus understanding of absolute truth is buddhi yoga. So, basically, karma yoga plus jnana yoga.
Okay.
Anything else? Anybody else? Everything is clear? Please ask. These are very practical questions. Shruti, Shashwat, any questions?
No, Prabhuji.
Okay. Anybody, please read. Anybody want to read? Can you please? Namrata, you want to read? Or Shruti, you can read.
Prabhupada. Yes, karma means action, fruitive action. Everyone is working in this world to get some result. Somebody is working in business, earning millions of dollars yearly. Why he is earning? He's earning for his sense gratification. As soon as he has got money, he changes his car, he changes his apartment, changes his standard of life only for increasing. The whole world is working so hard, and the result is that increasing their objects of sense gratification. This is called karma. Karma means to enjoy the result of your activity. And when it is karma yoga, that means the activities which is your occupation, you can engage yourself in that activity, but don't engage the result for your sense gratification, but for satisfaction of Krishna. That is called karma yoga.
Yeah. As soon as you offer fruits of your action to Krishna and not your sense gratification alone, right, then that's called karma yoga. So here is the um, differences between Sankhya yoga and Buddhi yoga. Buddhi yoga means Bhakti yoga or Krishna consciousness, where you are performing karma yoga but with the goal of pleasing Krishna, right? Not for your own enjoyment. So Sankhya yoga is indirect path. Why? Because you are not directly dealing with the absolute truth, right? You're trying to identify what is matter, what is spirit. And then Sankhya yoga is a dependence on personal endeavor. There is no surrender to the supreme. So through experimentation, one tries to acquire knowledge in this world. And Buddhi yoga is, is dependent on Krishna's mercy. You go to temple, you worship Krishna, pray to Krishna to give you devotional spirit in your life. So all of that is because you have a spirit of dependence on Krishna. And Sankhya yoga, the success is not guaranteed. You're still trying to figure out what is matter spirit. When is the time you'll achieve the absolute connectivity with absolute truth? It will take time. Buddhi yoga, Krishna consciousness, there is surety of success because you are depending on the strength of Krishna and Vaishnavas, right? So there is a lot of support system there, right? Association of devotees and temple, deities, services. You have so many opportunities to improve yourself. So that will help you get rid of the karmic bonds. Yeah. And for Sankhya Yoga, you cannot just become detached Sankhya Yogi without proper purification. If you do without purification, there is a good chance that you will come back to your previous life before. Okay, like before. Yeah, so it's a gradual path of purification. But if for Buddhi Yoga, the ends and means are the same. So you'll practice the same thing all through your life. It's not like you change the process after some time. Yeah, so we'll read the next verse. Yeah, this we discussed. Yeah. Na karmanam anarambham. Anarambham. Yeah. Please read. Anyone?
अकर्मणाम् अनारम्भन्
Naishkarmyam purushosnute.
नैष्कर्यं पुरुषोऽश्नुते
Na cha sanyasanad eva.
न च सन्न्यासनाद् एव
Siddhim samadhigacchate.
सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति.
Yeah. Please read.
Not, not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection.
So Krishna is very clear. Just by abstaining from work, one will not achieve freedom from reaction, because the nature will not nature. So innate nature within you, uh, it will manifest in just due course of time. Suppose Arjuna goes to forest and begs alms from people. and one of them, whom he is begging, he insults by saying, "Oh, Arjuna, you are a coward. You came running from the war out of fear of death." What will Arjuna do? He will take his sword and cut his head, because that is his Kshatriya spirit. So you cannot subdue your inner nature and just abstain from all work. Better you engage your senses in work. Sometimes even for us, when we go for a break, vacation for say 3 weeks, after a couple of weeks you feel like, oh, I'm missing my work. Have you had such experience? Anybody? At least I had. Not every time, but sometimes I had. Uh, I felt like, I need to go do something right now. Yeah. So by renunciation alone, one cannot attain perfection. So Prabhupada says, without purification of heart, sannyasa is simply a disturbance to the social order. On the other hand, if someone takes to transcendental service of the Lord, even without discharging his prescribed duties, whatever he may be able to advance in the cause is accepted by the Lord, Buddhi Yoga. So, yeah, without purification, right? Without your what when I say purification, what is it about? Again, can anyone quickly answer me? The three things.
Not
Proprietorship,
considering, yeah, ourselves as proprietor, controller, and enjoyer.
enjoyer, yeah. So without the purification of heart from these, three menaces, right, or three anardhas, sannyasa is simply a disturbance to the social order. You cannot just give up because your nature is going to work. That's why we see a lot of, so many gurus, they fall down, they do some activities which are abominable because they're not purified, and they engage their, without purification, they just give up their work. So it will lead to, it's a disturbance to the social order. On the other hand, you take into transcendental service of the Lord, means you are engaged in devotional service. Even if you are not properly discharge your prescribed duties, whatever you're working in some company, but unfortunately you want to give your best, but sometimes you're not able to give your best, it's still okay. Okay, because you have clear goal of what is the purpose of your work. Your purpose is clear. Nahi kaschit kshanam api
न हि कश्चित् क्षणमपि
jatu tishtati akarma kret
जातु तिष्ठाति अकर्मकृत्
karyate hi avasaha karma
कार्यते हि अवशा कर्म
sarvaha prakriti jairgunai.
सर्वः प्रकृतिजैर्गुणे
Nahi kaschit kshanamapi. Even for a moment, one cannot, one cannot stay away from his own innate nature. Yeah, please read translation.
Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment.
Even for a moment, no one can refrain from doing their work. So it's better to engage your senses in the right understanding, with the right understanding. Yeah. It is not because your embodied life, not because of your embodied life, but it is the nature of the soul to be always active. Soul is active, matter is dead. You're acting today because the soul is there within the body, right? Yeah. So you have to engage in the right way. That's the only way. There is no other way. Karmendriyani samyamya. Yeah. Anybody else? Shashwat, are you there? Okay. Rachna, can you read for me? Karmendriyani samyamya.
Karmendriyani samyamya.
Ya aste manasa smaran.
Ya aste manasa smaran.
Indriyardhan vimudhatma.
Indriyarthan vimudhatma.
Mityachara sa uchyate.
Mithyachara sa uchyate.
Very good. Yeah, please read the translation.
One who restrains the senses of action but whose mind dwells on sense objects certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender.
One who restrains his senses, the senses of action, but his mind is still on the sense objects. Right? He's basically internally meditating on the sense objects, externally gave up the work. Right? Certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender, charlatan, cheater. Right? We see sometimes even in our place, there are some beggars who act like they're sadhus, and they don't work, but their mind is always on things like this. The mind is dwelling on sense enjoyment. It's not good. So they make a show of meditation while actually dwelling within the mind upon sense enjoyment. It is worst, actually. But who makes a, yeah. For sense enjoyment, one cannot in any capacity of the social order. For sense enjoyment, one can act in any capacity of the social order, but if one follows the rules and regulations of his particular status, he can make a gradual progress in purifying his existence. But he who makes a show of being a yogi while actually searching for the objects of sense gratification must be called a great cheater. Even though he sometimes speaks philosophy, he may speak philosophy, but unfortunately, his mind is on sense gratification. So it has no value. It's actually cheater. So because of people like this, people lost faith in spirituality and religion. Because they have seen cheaters like this all over. Yastvindriyani manasa. Okay.
Yastvendriyani manasa.
Yeah. Niyamya arbhate Arjuna.
Niyam arbhate Arjuna.
Karmendriya karma yogam.
Karmendriyai karma yogam.
Asakta sa visishyate.
Asakta sa vishishyate.
Yeah. Please read the translation.
On the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the active senses by the mind and begins karma yoga without attachment, he is by far superior.
But so the answer, Lord Krishna is contrasting a meditator whose mind is dwelling on the sense object versus the sincere person who is, who tries to control his senses while engaging his physical senses in the in a karma yoga, in a Krishna conscious spirit without attachment. He is by far superior. He is the best, comparing the two. So this is the practical lesson for us. So Krishna is saying, engage your senses in the service of Krishna, and that is the best thing for you. Yeah. So Prabhupada writes a beautiful purport. Instead of becoming a pseudo translist for the sake of wanton living and sense enjoyment, it is far better to remain in one's own business and execute the purpose of life, which is to get free from material bondage and enter into the kingdom of God. So this is the best thing we can do. So Prabhupada at the end says, a sincere sweeper in the street is far better than the charlatan meditator. Charlatan means cheater, cheating meditator who meditates only for the sake of making a living. Right? It's not good to cheat. Instead, you should work. Last words for the day. Niyatam kuru karmatvam. Anyone?
Niyatam kuru karma tvam
Karmajyayo hi akarmana.
karma jaya karmana
Sarira yatrapi chate.
sharira yatrapi chate
Na prasidjhed akarmana.
na prasidet akarmana.
Yeah, please read the translation.
Perform your prescribed duty, for doing so is better than not working. One cannot even maintain one's physical body without work.
Even to maintain your body, you need to work. So, whatever your nature is, whatever your psychophysical nature is, accordingly engage your senses. That is far better. And with the right spirit, use the fruits to offer to Krishna. Don't be attached to the fruits. By doing so, and by practicing of devotion service, you will purify your senses over a period of time, and you get rid of controllership, proprietorship, and enjoyment spirit. When you do that, your heart is purified. When your heart is purified, you become eligible to go back to Krishna. So in the purport, Krishna says, Arjuna was a householder and a military general, and therefore it was better for him to remain as such and perform his religious duties as prescribed for the householder Kshatriya. Such activities gradually cleanse the heart of a mundane man and free him from material contamination. So-called renunciation for the purpose of maintenance is never approved by the Lord, nor by any religious scripture. After all, one has to maintain one's body and soul together by some work. Work should not be given up capriciously without purification of materialistic propensities. So as long as you have materialistic propensities, engage your senses in the work. And when you gradually get rid of it, then purely engage in Krishna consciousness when you're fully ready for it. Yeah, so we'll continue. So next verse is very, very powerful verse and a lot of practical lessons. We'll continue next week. Okay, thank you all very much for joining. Any other questions before we end? Okay, we'll end the session then. See you next week in the Udop. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Bol.
Thank you.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Bol. Jai.